All right.
Ready to go. So how are you doing, Constantine?
I'm doing all right. We have recently finished one of the fundraisers that we had at Liberty Internet, at Liberty Ukraine. Got money for two quite capable $10,000 drones. So yeah, there are probably a lot of people here who supported this. So thank you all. Other than that, don't have much news either. Um, not much. Not much happening. Had a nice update from friends with one of the drones that we have given. They were managed to spot Russian position and entertain them with some of artillery.
Yeah. Yeah, there's one super interesting report that Wagner is running out of artillery. I don't know if it's true. Like it might just be propaganda, but like everyone in Wagner is complaining about it, and it's interesting. Constantine is twice as loud as I am. Okay. In fact, I'm just gonna turn on my own sound so I could hear what everybody else hears, because I think it'll be easier to balance it that way. Uh,
For some reason, I cannot join the Twitch stream. Did you ban me?
no.
You asked me before the joining for my Twitch ID, and says I cannot join.
Interesting. Interesting. Say something.
Yeah. So can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, I think you gave the wrong link in your Twitter post, man.
I did.
That was the issue. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna fix this microphone in a second. I'm just gonna put the real link out because apparently I put the wrong link out before. I don't know how I gave the wrong link. Yeah, I guess it was the wrong link. Well, anyway. Okay, back to fixing you. Can only fix one thing at a time. Uh,
And drop me a tweet so I retweet it.
oh yeah, shoot. Here, I'll just.
Yeah, just tell me if you. I will find it if you. Did you tweet already?
One sec, one sec.
I'll be back in a second.
Okay. Why can't I find this stupid volume setting? Like, I can't... oh, there it is. I found it. I found it. Okay. I I ran out of things I can put in my Twitter profile. You can only put two things. I wish I could put more things, but there's only. It's really frustrating. I guess I could put another one there. There. Now it's in my profile. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. I apparently gave out the wrong Twitter. Well, the wrong link on Twitter. It's a mistake. Okay. Anyways, we're off to a great start. This is fantastic. How's everybody doing? uh, I
I'm
tried.
back.
Okay. Yeah, you're. That's that. That's okay. I need to continue lowering your volume. But other than that, that's great. There, I think that should be great. I think that should be good. Say something. Oh, you're from New Zealand. Cool. How is New Zealand? You're getting a new prime minister. That's all I know about New Zealand. Anyways, so to the news. Just to be honest, not too much interesting has happened in the past 2 days. Um, Really, kind of the most interesting thing are the missile strikes. Um, Obviously, this morning, Russia, or last night, Russia did a massive missile strike. Um, Primarily, they struck a oil refinery here. Um, I think it was in X-22. Crashed into this little oil refinery here, did a lot of damage, and they took out a this power substation. Those are like the two major hits yesterday. Oh, and then they also hit Pavlorad, which I don't actually know where in the city it was. I didn't geolocate it, but those are the three major hits. I believe they also hit stuff near Lviv, but that wasn't covered too well. I don't really know what to say about it. Um, and then, kind of more important. Oh, these are the wrong color. That should be red. Ah, that should be blue because it's air defense. Anyway, more importantly, Ukraine hit a number of key Russian bases with missile strikes today. First, they took out a base in Skadovsk, which is where um, the Iranian drones are. They took out a base. They took out I think this was an ammo depot in Kalinchak, and they hit the military base in Cheklinka. So those are three significant strikes today. There's also explosions near um, Armyansk in Crimea, um, but there's debate on whether they were Russian or Ukrainian explosions. So I made it purple. Um, with these, they might be HIMARS. I don't actually know what these weapons could be. There's a number of weapons they could be. Oh, I remember. Kalinchak. No, this was not ammo. This was a anti-aircraft installation. So they struck S-300s and maybe S-400s that were based around Kalinchak. I don't actually know where. It's just kind of this is kind of an arbitrary marker. So first they took out these anti-aircraft, and then they took out these other two bases. So um, I don't know what weapons these are. There's a number of weapons they could be. They could be HIMARS. They could be drones. They could be Iskanders. There's a lot of weapons they could be. I'm not really sure what they were. There's also explosions in Melitopol. I don't know what those were. And there was a HIMARS strike over here. It was in on a Wagner base. There's a HIMARS strike in the this college here. Those long range bomb bombs, I guess is what you call them. Those long range bombs, they're gonna take a long time to get to Ukraine. Like, don't don't expect those until like autumn. Basically, it's gonna be a long time. So, um, but yeah, the missile strikes are kind of the biggest news, and uh, Ukraine shot down uh, 6 calibers over the Mykolaiv area, and 2 more calibers over the Kherson area. They took out, I can't remember how many, but I think it was like four. They took out a few more missiles near Dnipro, and they took out, I think, two more near Zaporizhia. So the missile news is kind of the biggest news. And then there were a number of airstrikes. There one significant airstrike in Malinivka where they took out a Ukrainian ammo depot. A whole bunch of other airstrikes on various other frontline towns like Kamyanka. A few days ago, Russia attacked Kamyanka and took really high casualties, and now they're just shelling it and then shooting it with bombs, I guess. Uh, and then there's a whole bunch of shelling, a whole bunch of airstrikes in Bilohorivka and in the forests south of Dibrova. Lots and lots of airstrikes here, and a bunch of airstrikes near Terny, to the east of Terny. And then also airstrikes around Kharkiv, where Udi today got hit by bombs and by a helicopter attack. And Vovchansk got hit by first heavy shelling, and then it got hit by guided missiles fired from an airplane. The
Do you know the targets over there? Why would they use a plane to do that?
I
I mean, this.
I really don't know why they're using planes here. Um, they've been really shelling Vovchansk like a lot recently. Like the past week, just constant shelling, and now they're like shooting guided missiles at it. Um, and these attacks, Russia is not even entering Ukrainian airspace. They're like shooting the missiles safely inside Russia. This helicopter attack, they said the helicopter attack came from within Russia. I don't know how that range measures because it's a few
What was
kilometers.
the range here? Like 7, 8?
It's like it's 3 miles. So
Oh, I think it's the I think S8 or whatever the missile is. I think
yeah, and
it
then
can barrage from that distance.
there's also an airstrike in near Sumy. They've actually hit this town 2 days in a row of airstrikes. Um, not fully sure. It's just I keep saying that the area around Kharkiv is heating up, and these airstrikes are just kind of part of it heating up. Like this, just everything is kind of activating more and more, and it seems that the areas that are the most active is this kind of Udi, Kozako. Anyway, this Udi area is kind of the one hot zone, and the other hot zone is Vovchansk. So I imagine if Russia ever wants to attack, those are probably the two places they're going to attack. Or maybe they'll attack somewhere totally different. I don't know. Uh, but yeah, that's
Are there other like satellite images of Russian forces being moved around? I saw that some of the I think Planet posted some satellite images of new Russian camps being set up somewhere in Russia. Have you seen that?
um, I have seen that footage. I can't remember where that footage is. I know that they are currently building field hospitals, and that's kind of worrying to people. Because when you build a field hospital, it kind of shows that you're more serious. You know what I mean? Like you don't build a field hospital for no reason. And I think they're more. I think the field hospital is more near Sumy, if I remember right, because they're also building roads. They're building roads like to the Ukrainian border, and they're building field hospitals, and they're moving troops in. Um, I know that this area around Kharkiv, I believe it has around 10,000 Russians, like just like uh, this general area. um, I think it's 2 divisions worth of infantry and armor. Well, one's an armored division, and the other's like a motorized division. So I really don't know if Russia is going to attack from this northern part. But it seems that they're doing all the things that you would do if you were going to attack. You know, they're building roads, they're moving in troops, they're building field hospitals. So it's all kind of worrying, but I don't know.
Do you know units? Like unit numbers that are
Um,
over there?
I know, I know one is like the fourth armored division, and I think the other one is the second motorized division. I think, um, like the fourth armored, they've been decimated like what, like 2 times. Like not even they're like the opposite of decimated. Like decimated means 10% of them died. Like they're like more like 90% of them died. It's kind of wild. But they've like done that 2 times, and now they're like building up for like a
Let's
third attempt.
we say Бог любит Троицу, and they say that in Russia, which means God loves Trinity. So that's what's gonna happen. That's their plan.
And I think that second motorized division, I think that they were also completely destroyed too. I'm pretty sure. Um, but anyways, those are kind of the 2 divisions here. They're large, and on paper they're scary, but they're all like conscripts. Like they're not real soldiers anymore. So I don't know how that's gonna play out. Uh, anyway, moving on. In Hrenigivka, uh, Russia tried to penetrate the lines here like 2 days ago or whatever. They tried to penetrate into this forest with the hopes of dividing the two Ukrainian forces, and that failed. And other than that, I don't really have news from here. Like, there's just ongoing fighting. Basically, I don't even know how big these forces are. Like it could just be like 2 companies fighting each other. Like I don't even know how many guys are here. So um, and I have basically no news from really any of this Kupyansk area. I don't know if have you heard anything about Kuzimivka or Novoselivska, Konstantin?
There is not much change over there. We're just fighting there, monitoring. I can show you latest video from there. It's not nothing interesting. Just there were reports of Russian attacks. That Russia is supposed to be attacking there soon, so they're like having their how you say attention and double combat readiness. But not much changes over there. They continue taking pretty big losses over there when they attack, but nothing too serious. There is not much movement over there right now.
Yeah,
My take is generally Ukraine right now is just trying to hold the positions and wait for the new military package to arrive. That's gonna take a month or two. That's how I see it.
yeah. It seems that from all the information I found, Russia is intending to push kind of like that way, kind of, where they're intending to push kind of just all through here. uh, um, so Kuzimivka would be like one of the primary places that they would attack from, and this is just kind of based on how Russia is setting up their logistics. They're moving everything so that they can pump as many forces as they can through this kind of just that way, basically. Um,
But like it looks pretty strange for me because those are that is a hard from what I understand, this is a pretty hard area to attack from. from the Russian positions over there. It does not favor Russians here. But we'll see if their tactic is to have as much meat as they can, and they don't care about the people. So who knows? If it seems stupid, does not mean that Russia will not do it. It may actually mean the opposite.
Yeah, and also just generally speaking, um, you can't do what your opponent expects you to do, right? You have to change things up every once in a while, or you become too predictable. So, um, like they wanted people to believe that this push out of Kreminna was their main push, and I think this will be one of the primary pushes. But it just seems that just from the people who are doing the analysis of the satellite imagery and watching, Russia move their stuff around on a daily basis, because I don't have access to that like super specialized satellite stuff. It's super expensive. I don't have it. So, but the people who do have it, they have been noticing that Russia is diverting a lot of their resources to this area and not so much Kreminna. So right now, Kreminna has a ton of forces, and those forces are enough to launch a pretty significant attack. So instead of Russia just pumping more and more guys there, they're kind of putting the rest up here so they can do probably one attack north and one attack west. That seems to be what their plan is right now. But as of this moment, just not too much is going on. So it's all speculation on what could happen in a week or two. Because the weather in Ukraine right now, right this moment, might be the best time for Russia to attack. I mean, what do you think? Like it's cold, the ground is hard, and
It's been
snowing.
snowing. It's been snowing a lot. So snow can turn quickly into the mud, like really bad mud. It can happen like literally overnight, and you can have your forces bogged down. I have not looked at the forecast, but right now,
Oh,
like if
I can tell you the forecast. The forecast is next week is going to be hot. I mean,
well, then they
hot by
they
winter
have
standards. you know, like next week is going to be like 5 degrees or something.
mm, 5 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius because you.
Celsius.
Oh, that's becoming warm. Yeah, so
Yeah.
if they have snow right now, and they had a lot of snow, well, not too much, not like 10 inches of snow, but I think they had around 4 inches around this area, and like if they while it's still cold, you can do your operations. If you wait a bit, then you would have your equipment impeded, like disabled, support equipment. The cars will not be able. It's just gonna melt over 2 days, and you're gonna be stuck inside, inside the territory which you don't have yet proper fortifications, and you can get a counterattack, and you can get into trouble. So uh, maybe right now it is, but once again, if it's not gonna go well, you're gonna be in trouble. That's my take on it all. So
Yeah. I from what I have heard is that in the next few days, including today, Ukraine, like this area was meant to get between 4 and 6 inches of snow, and then uh, it's going to be cold for like a few more days after that, and then like next week, like on Monday or Tuesday or something, it's going to be like warming up again. So it's just all of this is going to melt really fast. So that kind of doesn't bode well for a.
yeah, so I'm looking right now at the forecast. It's around 0 Celsius. and it gets colder during the night. So I think it's actually all right for them, because during the night some nights is gonna go below 10 Celsius, which is gonna freeze the ground up, and it will not melt during the day. It will still, like, the equipment, heavy equipment, will still be capable of passing it. But yeah, I don't know. So they do have a window at the moment. I think that they do.
The forces
But
in
it's risky.
the forces in Belarus, they're kind of irrelevant. there's 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 guys there, but Russia's like there's almost no chance that they're going to attack from Belarus. Like Russia just kind of puts guys there to first to have them trained, and second, honestly, I think they put guys here just to get them out of Russia, because it's bad for morale to have a bunch of really upset people in your country. You just want to get them somewhere else. So I think that's kind of the main reason they're sending them to Belarus. Anyways, so getting back to Kreminna, I said a few days ago that on Tuesday in the last stream that the force ratio in Kreminna is really bad for Ukraine. That Ukraine is outnumbered more than 7-1, and Russia has not really launched a huge attack yet. They are attacking. It seems that they're they have three goals. Like their main goals are to capture Terny and Torska, and also to clear this forest south of Debrova. And as of right now, they are attacking west towards Nevska and west in the general direction of Terny and Torska, although they haven't actually reached any of these towns yet. The fighting is kind of here. Like this is kind of here. And really there's been a lot of intense fighting in this southern forest where there's been a lot of heavy shelling, a lot of airstrikes, and a lot of fighting. Russia is bringing in reserves of armored vehicles and reserves of infantry, and it really seems that they really want to clear this forest. So far, the front line is probably somewhere here-ish. I'm not exactly sure. There were geolocated Russian artillery positions, like on this little stretch of road here, but they were all destroyed by Ukrainian artillery. So they're just kind of pushing, southwest. So this Kreminna area is not great for Ukraine. I don't know, Constantine, have you heard anything about this area?
No, I don't know anything about this area right now. I am quite skeptical when people try to assess what kind of forces are there Ukraine has, because it's woods. It's pretty hard, even if you have satellite imagery. Those are pine woods, and they are still green, and it's pretty hard to understand what is the force ratio, unless you're a colonel or general in operational command. It's, I don't know, it's pretty hard to assess the numbers there. But yeah, I don't have any news there from this place.
Russia launched an assault on Bilohorivka today, and it was repelled, kind of as per usual. This kind of south of Siversk area is just kind of status quo. There's like fighting in basically each of these towns with nothing really happening, and kind of getting to where things are changing is Paraskoviivka, where Russia is slowly pushing Ukraine out. Or maybe you could say Ukraine is slowly withdrawing. I'm not really sure whether Ukraine is withdrawing or if Russia is pushing them out. Maybe there's not really a difference, but kind of the point is that Ukraine is setting up a line that's going to basically, like, this is kind of their main defensive position going forward. At least that's what they're hoping. And then there will be like another line like over there. So they're Ukraine is going to basically just pull back to this line. How long it takes, I don't know. Like, it could take another week for all I know to get there. But that's the thing. That's kind of the goal. Is they don't really have much interest in holding basically these roads north of the highway. I mean, these towns north of the highway. What is the significance of Bilohorivka? First, it anchors Ukraine's ability to cross the river to the west of it. And second, it just kind of it's a thorn in the side of the Russians that they're unable to kind of link all of these different towns together. Because if Bilohorivka is it's a really bad place for Ukraine to be, but being there stops Russia from being able to attack all of the other things that are actually important to Ukraine. Because I don't know exactly where, but somewhere on this stretch of river is where Ukraine is crossing to support all these dudes who are in this forest, because they can't really cross this river over here near Torska. This this river here is very difficult to cross, so that they're crossing somewhere near Serebranka or Kharkiv, somewhere here. I don't know where. Russia's been hunting for where it is because they would love to know, but they can't find it. Is Ukraine building up an assault force? Yes. They're I know they're raising brigades right now. Um, I don't know when they want to launch such an attack. I'm not really sure. I just, I have a hard time believing Ukraine will launch an attack before spring. Like, I don't think they're going to attack anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Like, there is no point. We have more equipment coming in. We have a good pipeline and support is ramping up. So I don't think for Ukraine right now is a good moment to launch the attack. Just, because new equipment gives new capabilities to Ukraine, and those capabilities are quite important. So, and while Russia is attacking, they're wasting, their equipment. They're killing their morale. In attacks like in Vuhledar, of course, they have some incremental gains, but the front is pretty stable at this moment. And I think continued onslaught of Russia at this moment is just somewhat beneficial for Ukraine, because just like as before, they can they have a tendency to overcommit, which then can be exploited with the counterattacks. And like I've said on I think previous streams, before Ukraine gets the equipment, its counterattack capabilities are quite limited because the maneuver is not there. For counterattacks, you need large reserves, and you need a lot of maneuver. With the equipment that Ukraine has, and those are mostly Soviet era BMP-1s, which for example, like those 20 BMPs that Greece is given recently is an old obsolete equipment with poor protection, and it's not really reliable. Uh, you get into the problem where on the paper, you have a functioning battalion, but when you order it to strike, to perform a maneuver, 30% of the equipment does not start, and 10% of equipment breaks down when you before going into the combat, and 5% of people refuse because they're afraid, and you end up with only half of your battalion doing what they're supposed to do. Same problem Russia is facing, of course, but their equipment is a bit newer because they've been manufacturing it since all the time, and they have all those factories. So what Western equipment will give is this maneuver capability when you have 100% of your troops being ready, and you know that 90% of those troops will be able to perform combat operations, and this is and perform the maneuver without being broken, without equipment breaking, and uh, just ready. And this is what Ukraine needs at the moment. That's why I just don't think right now for Ukraine it's a good idea to perform attacks before we get the tanks and BMPs. And I think that's probably going to be at least in April. I don't think we can do it earlier.
Yeah, Eston, he asked what Ukraine is going to do with those French um, light tanks that they got today. I don't actually know. I assume that they're going to be given to the lighter brigades who don't have access to armored vehicle to like the heavier armored vehicles, so they can be like their heavier vehicle in their lighter brigades. Like, what do you think?
I mean, I didn't. I saw the news, but I don't know the exact number. Do you know the number that
There's
we're
like
getting?
10.
When you talk about 10, you cannot say brigades
Yeah.
because that's one brigade needs more than 10, much more than 10. I would suggest that they are probably we use MT-12 Rapier gun a lot. This is a towed artillery anti-tank gun that is actually pretty capable. It's just not mobile enough. And I think every brigade has a company that utilizes them. And I just think that's gonna be the place for them, because it's not this equipment is not really capable of. I don't believe it's capable of performing proper like pinch through and tank-like missions, but it's quite capable of doing that anti-tank role in the larger brigade. When you have, for example, you have a 93rd brigade holding some of the sectors, and if you can put those tanks, those I don't tanks, not tanks, or
Well,
however you call
France
them.
France calls them a tank. France says they're tanks. I say they're not tanks, but to
Yeah, so
France they're a tank.
it's in any way it's a mobile it's mobile armored firepower that is not too expensive probably, and it, I would suggest that Ukraine would try to use them instead of role of MT-12, uh, because with MT-12 there is a large problem. It's a capable, no matter what people say, it's capable. If you get hit by it, it's 100 millimeter. You're in big trouble. It can destroy tanks. But the problem is that you have a position that is holding. You cannot, if you keep it over there, then it can be discovered pretty easily by small drones such as DJI, and I'm not even talking about more capable drones like Forepost or any other. So your gun on the position is going to be easily destroyed because they know where they are, they know where it's facing, they know how hard for it to maneuver. So you can plan around it, you can move around, you can just destroy it, and and if you reinforce it with proper mobile firepower that can just come in and go and perform an operation. You have Russian onslaught. It's hiding somewhere behind, for example, 3 miles away in some smaller hangar somewhere. And when you see Russian operation, you just send it in. It works. It makes it 3-4 shots. And then moves back into the hidden positions when Russian onslaught is stopped. So this is what I see how it's going to be performed, because I honestly don't buy that it can work as a tank simply because those wheels are wheels no matter what people say. They burn, they are really easily set on fire, and I just don't see this being used as a tank unless it's given to the air assault forces, which I initially thought that it's going to get into the air assault forces because it's quite light. But I don't see this happening because I've seen that the air assault forces are getting those Challenger tanks, which are real tanks, and
They're a little bit bigger.
yeah, I did not understand this, but yeah, it's happening, and with these vehicles it's not happening, and 10 of them is really small number.
Well, there's gonna be more. There's just got like 10 today.
Oh, so what was the total number?
I think
Do you know?
30.
30? Well, 30 is something. You can probably put it like you need 14 for the brigade, so you could probably purchase in addition to 30 donated. You can probably get 14, like 12 purchase. So you can say that 3 air assault brigade can be, or 3 mechanized brigade can be equipped with them. Which is good, which is good, but once again, it's not unless it goes to the air assault brigade. It cannot perform the role of a tank.
Okay. So that's the AMX-10. I showed some pictures. Uh,
Does it have a two axis stabilized gun or just one axis?
I think it's stabilized. There's one like super interesting picture of it. Um, if you, it's like one of the top Google searches. This this image is really interesting to me because like the hull is level to the ground, even though the ground's not level. Like that the hull is level, but the ground's not level. So I don't.
Oh,
Do you see
yeah, I
that?
see what you mean.
That's interesting to me.
Well, it's French, they had that Citroën, how you call this vehicle, Citroën, um, that had this feature when it's an real old car, and it was one of the first ones where they had pneumatic suspension where it would lower and it would break all the time after like 10 years. All of them were broken. So I think that's just friends' way of doing things. But yeah, no matter what people say, it's mobile firepower and
I
it's
mean,
good, so it can be used.
France makes some weird tanks. uh, is the AMX 52. There's a tank. It looks like it's from outer space. Uh, anyways, so getting back to Ukraine. The northern portion of Bakhmut is kind of hot at the moment. There's a lot of fighting in the north. Um, not I've heard that there's a Russia's been making progress, but I don't actually know where the progress is or how much it is. So it's I don't know how to map it or how to talk about it. But anyways, this like northern part of Bakhmut, I kind of think when they say progress, they mean like up here near like Berhivka, maybe. But anyways, what's interesting to me is that Ukraine did a counterattack in eastern Bakhmut, and they cleared these three streets. Um, Here, I'm gonna try it. They cleared these three streets of the Russians. Uh, so that was pretty interesting. I'm not sure if Ukraine has captured this area or if they just cleared it. I have it as a gray area for now. Um, I know some people have mapped it where Ukraine has controls like this. I just kind of left it as a gray area. So, but anyway, these three streets were cleared yesterday, and or actually it wasn't yes, it was announced yesterday. It actually happened like 3 days ago, I think. And then there's the other counterattack to the west of Bakhmut near Chasiv Yar, where they moved up about a kilometer. Ukraine cleared about a kilometer of ground. So and then Wagner counterattacked, and the attack didn't go anywhere. So this is, from my understanding, more or less the situation now. And in Ivanivska, I've heard that there's a lot of fighting in the town now. I don't know what "in the town" means, because like there's these kind of industrial buildings to the south of the town. I don't know if that counts as in the town, or if they actually mean like in the houses, like a residential. But anyway, I've heard that there's fighting in Ivanivska. I heard it a few days ago, or like I think like last Thursday, I think, and I talked about it, and I hadn't heard any news for like 3 or 4 days since then, and then I heard again today that there is fighting in Ivanivska. So I don't know what "in" means, but that's just what they say. There's fighting in Ivanivska apparently. So that is kind of the Bakhmut area. Ukraine is doing their attacks. Russia is doing their attacks. The south section of Bakhmut, from my understand, not much is going on. The east, Ukraine is attacking. The north, Russia is attacking, and the west, like the far west, Ukraine's attacking, and then the closer west, Russia's attacking. So that's kind of the Bakhmut area. Um, uh, I didn't hear anything about, at least the people that I talked to didn't say anything about Ukraine attacking in Ivanivska. Um, I know that there's an ongoing Ukrainian attack like along this canal, where Ukraine is they're kind of pushing just that way in general. So there's like just ongoing attacks like that way. So you could say that is near Ivanivska, but I have heard, from what I understand, Ukraine is attacking like this way, but simultaneously Russia is attacking like this way. So it's like two simultaneous attacks in different directions. Uh, yeah, and Ukraine has the height here, because if I look at the 3D view, which I can, Ukraine has the high ground more or less, and they're fighting kind of at the peak of the hill. So Ukraine is kind of pushing this way. They're kind of pushing up in this picture. So um, this is the high ground. So if they capture this location here, like on the canal, they would control all of the high ground. Um, I I don't know. I know they're making progress. I don't know how much progress they have had. They might have actually captured this hill already. I'm not sure. And I don't know what fighting in Ivanivska means. Whether it means, anyway. So That's kind of the Bakhmut area. Um, Other than that, the last kind of interesting news that I have is that in Marinka, Russia did a attack where they moved along this forest strip into this like pig farm, and they're attacking this pig farm. There is kind of conflicting reports on whether they've captured this farm or whether the farm is still contested. I'm mapping it as contested until I see more information. What's kind of funny about this is that the Ukrainians say that Russia captured the pig farm, and the Russians say they have not captured it, which is interesting. But that's kind of the last like piece of news I have for today. Otherwise, not much happened. Regarding how long Ukraine can hold Bakhmut, at this point, um, Ukraine, it's up in the air how long Bakhmut will hold. At this point, Bakhmut is in no threat of being lost at the moment. So if the situation holds the way it is now, they could hold it indefinitely. If things change, then it could change. Like it's completely undecided what will happen in Bakhmut. Um, it's just it's undecided. So um, in Vuhledar, there was more Russian attacks, and they died. Like it's just they're doing the same thing over and over again. They're taking like small groups of infantry supported by armor and trying to push them up these forest strips, and then they all die. And then they take another group and they push them up the forest strips, and they all die. And then they take another group and they push them up the forest strips, and then they all die. And then it's just the same thing. So it's kind of hard to talk about because it's just the same thing happening all the time. And the situation, like overall, the situation is not changing. Maybe they control a little bit more of a forest strip today than they did yesterday, and they might have lost this forest strip over here. And it's like the individual tiny changes are unmappable for me. So and there's not much to talk about because just nothing is really happening. So it's just the same old. This is kind of status quo for Vuhledar now. They're also trying to attack um, you know, this western portion, kind of trying to go around Vuhledar, but they're dying there too. Like nothing's really happening, and that's about it. There's not much to say.
What is your take on the Vuhledar? After suffering those losses, Are they planning to continue the
Yeah,
attacks, or you think it's?
they're continuing them. They're bringing in reinforcements. I think um they are what they're right now. They are removing forces from like near Orkiv. They're bringing them down the highway to Melitopol, and they're sending them over to like Mariupol, and then they're pushing them up to Vuhledar. So they're like removing guys from here to attack Vuhledar. And they have more forces near Donetsk as well that they are pulling forces out of Donetsk down to Mariupol and then up to Vuhledar. So, and like all of these highways, there are like images today of all these highways that are just bumper to bumper Russian trucks, just pushing more and more stuff into Vuhledar. Insane. It's actually insane. They are just putting everything they have into capturing this town, and it just seems that Ukraine is defending it like with a yawn. Like they're just like, well, y'all dead. Bye. Next. Um, You say that there's past shelling here. Oh, I must have copied and pasted it wrong because that's I don't think that's what you meant unless you typed it wrong. Oh, here? That's weird. I would assume that's old. I don't know though. It's possible Ukraine has pushed that far south, but I don't know for sure. This area is what they call the Mikhelska dachas. That's what this is. Uh, um, I don't know who currently controls these dachas. I know that I map it as kind of Russian controlled. In reality, it's kind of Russia can only control this like suicidally. They can't actually like stay in this position long term without dying. But they've been forcing their troops to stay here, and a lot of their troops refuse to even go here because it's like it's just straight suicide to move into this spot. So they've been like the actual kind of contracted soldiers are refusing to go here, so they're sending mobilized people against their will to be here. It's possible that they just all ran away. It would be logical for them to do that. I don't actually know, but it's a suicidal position. It is kind of a classical gray zone where it's uncontrollable by anybody, but Russia is just forcing their men there, or at least they were. They're forcing them there. So yeah, that's kind of all I had to say for today. this this the news is kind of slow. The most interesting news was the missile attacks. I know, Constantine, do you have anything to talk about?
No, not much. Just just enjoyed listening to your update, and I think it took us 1 hour, which is nice. And it was not as small as you initially said. So
Yeah. Oh, we talked about the Sumi area in the beginning, so if you want, you can like listen to the recording. We spent like 10 minutes talking about that, I think. Why has the U.S. not taken Russia seriously? I don't know. If I, don't- if I were in charge, I would be acting differently. And personally, I think it's insane that the United States let its arsenals get so small. Like even like just not even counting Russia or China, really. It just I can't wrap my head around having so few artillery shells and like so few just materials to help your allies, especially knowing that your allies have very weak armies. So it's just it doesn't make sense to me. If I were in charge, I would not have let the United States have such a small arsenal of weapons because we have a huge amount of bombs. Like we have bombs for days. We could bomb everything. We could probably bomb every house in the world if we wanted to, but we don't have any artillery shells. It's I don't understand. Like I can't understand it. But anyways, yeah, I guess at the end of the day, all that matters are the nukes. I guess so. I guess you could say that. Um, so anyway, so I think that's it for today. I think we'll come back on Tuesday and we'll have another maybe more to talk about on Tuesday. What do you think? All right. So I'll see you later. Constantine, do you want to say
yeah,
bye?
thanks for thank you for coming. And once again, it was a great stream. Had a lot of people. I think we had some new people. So keep coming. Thank you.
All right. Bye.